Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another review. So today we're not gonna do a TV show review. We're just gonna do a game review of this. Now this one is called Mr. Hopp's Playhouse Review. So I'm gonna review the first game of this and then the second one. So yeah, and I want to do this because I never tried this before since on hand, so I'm doing it right now as a matter of fact. So yep, so here we go. This review, Mr. Hopp's Playhouse story that I'll that'll actually spoiling it. So if you don't like me spoiling, then leave the video right now. If you do mind, then good for you. So let's go. After being gifted by a toy rabbit, Mr. Hopp, by Ruby's assistant grandmother, Nana Esther, or Nana Call Esther, Ruby takes a strong dislike to the toy due to his eerie appearance. After begging her father to take Mr. Hopp out of her room one night, Ruby is gently reassured in his comfort by being told that her nightlight will be left on. However, things take a dark route when her father leaves the room, and her nightlight begins to flicker. And after flickering, her nightlight stops. It is revealed that Mr. Hopp has vanquished along with her parents. So the story of this is it takes place after Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2. It doesn't take before Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2 because Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2 was a prequel to Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 1, and a lot of people said that Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2 was a prequel, and yeah, good job to you gamers for calling Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2 a prequel. You all deserve a cookie. Just kidding, you guys don't. Honestly, you guys don't. Y'all trash. I'm joking, you're not trash, honestly. And after Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2, the true ending, which is definitely a canon one after this, which actually Esther made a toy rabbit called Mr. Hopp for Ruby, and some of her parents think that Mr. Hopp looks quite unsettling, and that's why Ruby doesn't like Mr. Hopp, because he keeps throwing slingshots at him, and yeah, that's why. And he is vanquished along with her parents too before that. And I never know that he would actually kill his parents. Actually in the old version, he actually killed his parents. But in the new version, he didn't kill them, but he just vanquished along with her parents. So the old version of that, this just scares me for some reason, because I never thought Mr. Hopp would kill her parents, because if Ruby found out, there would be blood everywhere. But Moonbit decided change it and go to a new version of that and make the parents so scratch it, because the blood thing will kind of be too very uncomfortable for children to play this, especially for the age of 13. Honestly, that would be too toxic, by the way. Now let's go on to the gameplay / animation. Now the gameplay of this it's alright. I never this gameplay never surprised me. When it come out in 2019, I was definitely alright with this, and I can see why people would play this before, because after all, it's a popular game made by Moonbit Studios, the the maker of the game, and also there are like also few animators of this game that could like actually pull it off, or don't pull it off for a second. One being which is that like you see Esther's character from the bed where she's like doing like this, like you see her for 1 millisecond and that's it. Honestly, that's it. Like that's all that it has to take, honestly. And the beginning of that was just what? I don't understand, honestly. I really don't understand, but the beginning of the game was just so confusing to me because I never thought like Esther would do this and just like I don't know what her animation was like, because I don't know, her animation like with her doing this is just like it's kind of creepy to look at, but hearing that it's just so dull and rather creepiness. So yeah, I'm sorry Moonbit, but you had to try a little hard in that. And also the animation where Mr. Hopp pulling her grandmother, or Ruby's grandmother called Esther, was amazing. It's honestly gotta be one of the best animations ever, honestly. I love that one. So yeah, but the animation with the jump scares are kind of dull. They're not like scary looking, and yeah, they're so dull, honestly. Like, especially with the second jump scare. I mean, in Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 1, it has 2 jump scares. One is the jump scare when he does like this, and the second one was the head thing, like popping in and out. And I gotta admit that those 2 were just so dull, man. They were so dull, and I could see people why they're not scared of him, honestly. I mean, some players do scare the crap out of themselves when they actually see the jump scare, or 2 jump scares. They actually poop themselves, by the way. Now, yeah. I'm sorry to say, like, poop, by the way. And the design of Mr. Hopp was, I'll give it credit. I mean, I honestly kind of like him, but the second one, I just love him more than this one, because honestly, man, his new design for Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2 is like amazing, but we'll get to that later on. So, but for now, I'm giving the animation of that, the gameplay of that, a 6 out of 10 for a great gameplay. Well, yeah, I mean, it is a great gameplay. Well, there's some stuff that I find it so confusing with, and the animation for a 4 out of 10 for a animation. Now let's go for the 6th tape. So we got 1 out of 6. So let's read. September 8th. Jenna, Ruby, and I went to see Esther yesterday. Ruby always loved seeing her grandmother. Not as she calls her. She's not been doing so well in recent months. We ran around the other weekend and she was just staring at the wall. We had to really shake her to snap out of it, and then she was fine, just like nothing happened. God knows how long she doing that for. We've been booked her for a doctor's appointment. I'm supposed to be recording ideas for a new novel. So Jenna and David and Ruby went to see Esther yesterday, and Ruby loves seeing her grandmother, or aka Nana as she calls her, and she's not doing in recent months, and she's just staring at the wall like nothing, and they try to snap her out of it, and she was fine like nothing happened. I mean, okay, so like, what's the point of Esther staring at the wall and doing nothing? Like, I mean, Esther, like, when she was a grandmother, I never see her doing that, honestly. And when she was just staring at the wall, like, what? I don't understand. I don't understand why she keeps staring at the wall for like something, because is there like if she, is she's like scared of Mr. Hopp, or is she like scared of the devil? I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, what's the proof of that? Because like to be honest, like in Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2, she was definitely scared of Mr. Hopp when she was a little kid. And before that, she was staring at the wall doing nothing? Like, okay, fine, yeah, I know, but still, that's just like, there's nothing to be approved of that. It's just like, you had to like, I mean, yet this game had to like give the reason for something, like why is she stare at the wall at, and something like that. It's just like the story of that was just so confusing to me. It's just like the 1 out of 6 tapes was just so confusing. Like, stare at the wall doing nothing and step her head to make her step out of it, and she was fine like nothing happened. Like, I don't know what she's doing that for, honestly. Like, and that one makes me so confusing too, and I honestly don't know. September 14. Jen and I stopped to see Esther again today. Place was filthy. I'm not sure how it would have gotten so bad so quickly. Esther doesn't seem to be keeping herself clean either, and it's almost like she doesn't recognize us. Her appointment is tomorrow. Jenna was worried that she might go into care. I'll keep this document. I hope Ruby doesn't have to see her like this. So, in September 14, they stopped to see Esther again today, and Esther didn't seem to be keeping herself clean, and she doesn't recognize Jenna and David. So that's why she doesn't like take a shower, or like, I don't know, man. It's just like the fact that how much she doesn't like keep herself clean. Like, and also it's important, like, guys, you have to like keep yourself clean no matter how much you do. Like, even if you like, you know, take a shower, or wash your hands, or brush your teeth, like, those can make you clean. But what happens if Esther doesn't keep herself clean and almost doesn't recognize Jenna and David? So that means if she didn't keep herself clean, why did she keep herself clean? It's like, it's because like there's like something that's going on in her head, or something that possesses her, or something that possesses a toy called Mr. Hopp that she's like scared of when she was a little kid. I mean, that one actually, that one would fit into that. But honestly, like, this one was a lot more confusing than tape 1/6. Let's move on. September 15. As for recording this, Esther is in the hospital. Her neighbor called the police in the early hours of the morning because they would hear her screaming. She'll be there for a few days. We told Ruby that she had a fall and that she's okay. We're waiting a diagnosis. So Esther is in the hospital, and the neighbors would call the police because they would hear her screaming, and I mean, I don't know what she's screaming for. Is she screaming because of she's possessed or something? I don't know. It's like the game would like at least like, you know, give me a reason to that, because I mean, hey, there's questions, honestly. There's like false in this game, so I would just, you know, give her that. I would just, you know, give the game that if there's like any false alarms, by the way. And that Ruby had. And also the confusingest part, the one confusingest part that I really don't understand is that Ruby had a fall. And I don't know why that's still there. Like, did she had a fall because she broke her knee or her leg? Because I mean, the game will at least told us that. Like, I don't know if Ruby could actually broke her leg or broke her knee because of that. If she had a fall, then he actually broke her knee. Because that doesn't make sense. If she had a fall and that she's okay, that doesn't make any sense. That's gonna lead her for some a dignified reason right there. I honestly don't know what to expect from this. Like, I don't know what to expect from this. Like, it's just like the fact that how much Ruby had a fall and that she's okay and yeah, blah blah blah. And you can't tell her if she's okay if after when she had a fall, because what, she broke her knee, or she broke her head, or she broke her leg, or she broke her elbow, that she had a fall. Because there's no reason why she had a fall in the first place. So that's why it's like the most confusingest part ever. September 17, we took Ruby to the hospital to see her nana. Esther made a soft toy for her called Mr. Hopp, a small rabbit. Esther always kidding her clothes and toys. Ruby was thankful, but I must admit, this toy does have a look to it, something quite unsettling. Glad that the fourth tape doesn't like give us unweakenable questions here and there. So they took Ruby to the hospital to see Nana again, and then Esther made a soft toy, or Nana made a soft toy for her called Mr. Hopp, a small rabbit, or a small bunny, whatever you want to call it. So, and then Esther always kidding her clothes and toys, and Ruby was thankful, but the parents admit that they will look at it, something quite unsettling. Now, this one I kind of find it better, because not only does Mr. Hopp is a cute one, or a cute plushie, he turns into this monstrosity monster that would actually vanquish her parents by now. I mean he wouldn't be doing it like Thanos was from, you know, Marvel Adventures Endgame, by the way. He wouldn't just like, you know, snap half the universe, by the way, because Mr. Hopp, if Mr. Hopp was like Thanos, then he would be snap half the universe by taking his parents. I mean, her parents. And like, I don't know, it's just like me making a reference, by the way. September 19, we just had a call. Esther passed away in her sleep. The doctors couldn't give us a diagnosis, and even said this sudden passing is bizarre. We'll have to tell Ruby when she gets home from school. This isn't gonna be easy on any of us. Right, so they just have a call, and Esther passed away in her sleep. And did she actually pass away after this? I don't know, man, because like, I mean, like, first of all, like, I know she's like alive after when we see her, and Ruby calls her Nana because she's still alive after he passed away. But I don't know, actually, I don't know why Esther passed away and still alive when we saw her. It's just the fact that how much bizarre it could get from this, because like I mean the game is like kind of weird, like throwing you off, because first Esther passed away in her sleep, and then second of all she's alive, and like why is she alive after when she passed away in her sleep? Is she passed away in her sleep because she actually doesn't like take anymore because she is being possessed or something, or does she then never takes a chill pill? I don't know. Like, this game will like give us a reason of why Esther passed away in her sleep, and suddenly she's alive. Like, that wouldn't work because, like, yeah, I mean that wouldn't work because that is not like actually magic where Mr. Hopp would actually heal her by now. So, and now you're telling me that Esther passed away in her sleep, and after that millisecond she finally woke up and then she's alive? And then honestly, and then because Esther said that Ruby wanted to give her a big hug. Like, I don't know if she's alive after when she's passed away in September 19th, because that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. September 22nd, Ruby says that Mr. Hopp toy creeps her out, but it's the only thing that she had to remember her grandmother by. I keep hearing bumps in the nights, like somebody is walking around, and it's scaring Jen and I. I keep a slingshot in the safe, but considering that, keep it closer to me. We lock the room so that Ruby can't get in. Jenna keeps the key under the house plan in the hallway thing. So after that, Ruby says that Mr. Hopp toy creeps her out, which that makes sense because a toy being possessed. Smart girl, Ruby, smart girl. But it's the only thing that she had to remember her grandmother by. So what is the thing that she had to remember her grandmother by? Because if she said, is she be thankful of her grandmother? Because I honestly don't know why her grandmother gives Ruby a Mr. Hopp. Like, does she need it because of Mr. Hopp torturing Ruby? Because if that's so, then wow, Esther, you're very evil. You're very evil indeed. And David keeps hearing bumps in the night, like something is walking around and it's scaring Jenna and David. So it must have been Ruby that's walking around, because we never know that Ruby is like walking around and getting a slingshot and throwing at Mr. Hopp, because that wouldn't make sense. That would make sense. That would make perfect sense if Ruby is like walking around through the night and then throwing a slingshot at Mr. Hopp. That would make sense, because if her grandmother gives Mr. Hopp by now, then why would her grandmother give Mr. Hopp to Ruby? Because like here's that question, and I know Ruby is like scared of Mr. Hopp, and she is definitely scared. Not gonna lie, it's just by the point where I want to actually said that, but Esther was evil. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what she's thinking about it. honestly, like giving a toy rabbit to Ruby. Then second of all, Ruby says that the toy rabbit creeps her out. And yeah, Ruby has a smart idea. Grandmother, like, Jesus. I mean, when Esther was a little kid, she was a smart girl, but when the grandmother of this, she becomes so out of character right there. Like, Esther was out of character in this. And not gonna lie, it's just, I don't know what to say about this. I don't know what to say about this. So David keeps a slingshot in his safe by considering that he'll be like closer to me. So he's like, so like for example, like David and Jenna are just both like living in the parents' room, in the parents' bedroom when they're sleeping on it. And after that, Mr. Hopp actually vanquished her parents. And Jenna keeps the key under the houseplant in the hallway. So it's like after like when Jenna keeps the key under the houseplant, so it's like after like next left to the houseplant. It's like next to this, like honestly. So yeah, that's why I think the story actually makes sense. But honestly, I have to say this, but Esther is out of character. When she was a grandmother, she was out of character for some reason. But when she was a little kid, she is not. But when she was a grandmother, she is out of character. Now let's go to the endings of this. So the first one is called the Sleep Tight Ending, where Ruby assistant, it was all a bad dream and went back to bed. Maybe that was a mistake. Also, this ending was so confusing. Like, why would Ruby went back to bed and thinking that was a mistake? Like, I mean, actually, Mr. Hopp would have been kill Ruby right now. Like, he will kill Ruby right now. Because that was a mistake for doing that. So, I had to dock a few points and give this ending a 4 out of 10 for a ending. The second one is called Escape the Artist Ending. This ending was way better than the Sleep Tight ending, but we get to see a actual ending of some sort. So yeah, we see her Esther's Nana called Esther, and she want to like give Ruby a big hug, and Mr. Hopp like takes away from her, and then she said, "Play with me, Ruby, play with me." And once you start running and get out of the house, the police cops knows where Esther knows what Ruby is doing. And actually, I don't know why the cops arrest Ruby, because, man, to be honest, it's not her fault for doing that. I mean, like, what? Does she want to, like, get arrested because of that? Or, you know, go to jail for something? I don't know why. Because, like, the fact that how much it make this ending so very less unquestionable. That one was like, I don't know what it is, but I don't know. But hey, at least Ruby escaped the house for the first time, so we're giving it a 6 out of 10 for a great ending. And last but not least, Firestarter Ending. So after, when there was like a secret, when you get 4 out of 6 or 3 out of 6, I'm not sure, you get a gasoline, and then you get matchsticks, and then you pour it into the newspaper and put matches everywhere to make a fire, and then voila, here is the fire. And after when you leave, there's a different ending, because because after, not when the cops arrive, the whole house was burned down, and Mr. Hopp was being burned down for good. And to be honest, I love this ending. I love this ending, and I love it because like it actually has a reason on why you want to like do that. And even when you had like choices like Undertale was, for example, in the neutral route, you want to like spare everyone or just kill everyone in the genocide route. And you have choices where, like in this one, like where like you escape the house before the cop sees you and arrests this Ruby, or you want to like fire the house up and escape from it, and the whole house was gonna be burned down. And this one ending was really, I love that. I love this ending. So it's just gonna give it a 6 out of 10 for a great ending. So let me hear my final thoughts on this game. So what do I think of Mr. Hopp's Playhouse review? I mean, Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 1. There were a little bit a story behind of this, and I love their story behind of this. So with a few unwickable questions here and there, I just kinda felt this game really like down. I mean, it's not that downhill all of a sudden. It's not a decent game or a decent territory or a bad territory or a horrible territory. So I'm just gonna give this a 6 out of 10 for a great game. Honestly, think this game was the first one after Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2, because Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2 was the prequel after Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 1. So it takes place, this one takes place before Mr. Hopp's Playhouse 2. So anyway, that's all I have to say. So yep. And also, let me hear what you guys had to say from this game, or your final thoughts of this. And if you and if I don't care, it could be like a excellent game or a meh game or a bad game or a horrible game. Just, and also don't take my review too seriously, and don't take my opinions too seriously. Please don't. So anyway, peace out. Bye.